Hyundai describes this vehicle as being the most Palisade ever. Now to me personally, that means for a mainstream three-row SUV, you have the latest and greatest technology found in something like a BMW, Mercedes, or a Audi at a mainstream price tag. Hey guys, it's Chris. In this video, I'm super excited because I have the Palisade Hybrid Calligraphy, and I'm curious to see how it compares against the Toyota Grand Highlander in its Platinum Max trim, which I did review about 2, maybe 3 years ago. But you know what? This one does have a remote start, so we're gonna lock the doors, hold down the key fob. It's already on because it's on electric mode. Shh, shh, shh. But now, let's go ahead, drum roll, get into this review. Woo! Look on the outside of the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy Hybrid. This is your key fob with lock, unlock, your remote start feature and panic button with your smart park and tailgate release on the side of the key fob. Now, as equipped, this vehicle is $60,730, dressed in a Titan charcoal exterior on a black Nappa leather interior. Now, it's actually kind of funny because about a week ago before I did this review, I ended up seeing the new generation Palisade, and I was like, what is this vehicle with all these LED headlights on the front end fascia? And lo and behold, it was the new Palisade. Funny enough, but looking at your front end fascia right here, you have a full LED headlight setup right here with your DRLs, which doubles as your turn signals, and LED low and high beams integrate a little bit more into the front fascia, as well as a LED light bar, which spans the entire width of the vehicle. Hyundai badging is up top with your front view camera system just below, as well as a sensor for your SmartSense driver assist technology with highway driver assist 2, which will try out on the road. You also have active grille shutters down here. Now coming over to the wheels, we have a 21-inch multi-aero spoke design wheel wrapped in a all-season tire. Your power folding mirrors with LED turn signals and side view camera system. Keyless entry for your front door handles. This right here is your window sticker. Check out the description below for all options and features on this particular vehicle right here. Your roof racks are up top with a panoramic sunroof to give you air filling inside the cabin. Now, overall vehicle length is 199.4 inches long from nose to tail with 7.4 inches of ground clearance. You'll also find a 18.2 gallon gas tank over here on the driver's side. Now coming around to the Range Rover design on the back, you have a full LED taillight setup back here with LED turn signals and brake lights up top, with your LED reverse lights lower down below in the rear diffuser with a hidden exhaust tip on the passenger side. This one is also ready to tow 4,000 pounds of this application right here. Palisade is spelled out on the rear liftgate with your badging on both sides. Now, to open the tailgate, you can use the smart trunk access feature. If you stand behind the vehicle for 3 seconds with the key, it will open up automatically, or you can use the power release right here. It is power operated. Now, behind the third row seats, you will find 19 cubic feet of space. You can fold that down, expanding to the second row, which adds up to about 46 cubic feet of space. And if you do fold down the second row seats, expanding even more to 86.7 cubic feet of space, all the way to the first row. All seats are power operated, all 6 individual seats. Now over here on this side, you can see all your various different controls to move the seats and all your various different functions right here. You can fold down all the seats, individual seats between left and right, second and third row buttons right here. You can also fold up and down all the individual seats with this button. You have a subwoofer for the 14-speaker Bose sound system, as well as a 12-volt charger right here. A little bit more storage down below with your fix-a-flat tire mobility kit, as well as your first aid kit and cargo net right there. Now to close the tailgate, you can use the buttons up top to either lock the doors or close the tailgate like so. But now let me show you guys under the hood where all the action happens in the new Palisade. Hood releases down below. Now I want to mention that there are 2 engine offerings available for the 2026 model year or second generation Palisade. The first engine is a naturally aspirated V6 with just shy of 300 horsepower and an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is the upgraded hybrid version, which uses a 2.5 liter turbo inline 4-cylinder that makes 258 horsepower, 260 pound-foot of torque on its own, with a 6-speed automatic transmission. You also do have included a 1.65 kilowatt hour battery and a 72 horsepower electric motor for a total system output of 329 horsepower and 339 pound-foot of torque. MPG figures are 29 city, 30 on the highway, and 29 combined, with a carb weight of 4,938 pounds. Again, this one is ready to tow 4,000 pounds. This H-Track all-wheel drive application right here, with its main competitor being the Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid Max. Now, speaking a little bit more about the exterior design of the new Palisade, the front end really does remind me of the Toyota Crown or Century SUV on the front. We have like this squared off front with like the sculpting around the hood area, as well as the sculpting around the fenders. Does look pretty good, and you also have like a Range Rover looking rear design. But now let's hit the interior, where it really counts for a near luxury product like this. So let's go. Now, before I hit the third row seats, I want to show you guys the controls for the second row seats, as you won't be able to see those when I close the door. So when it comes to your seat controls right here, you have your power bottom as well as your back support. You can also push this button right here to fold the seat fully forward to access the third row, or you can get a relax recline function right there, which is over there on the passenger side, as you guys can see. Now, hopping on the interior, squeeze on back to the third row seats. At 5'6", I have about ½ an inch of legroom. Headroom is about 1.5 inches back here, as you guys can see. Pretty good. You have a couple of amenities back here. 3-stage heated rear seats, power back support as well as your bottom support, so you can slide it forward and back depending on your cargo, as well as the backrest right there. Integrated USB-C ports and some cup holders are right down below. Now, heading over to the second row seats, which I have to say is definitely way more spacious than the front row. Plenty of head and leg room right here. Over here on your door panels, you have integrated manual sunshades on the sides with some illumination up top. A little bit of the accent lighting right there with your window controls and your rear occupant alert button right there, like the illumination. You can see a little bit of the ambient lighting. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the materials don't carry over from the front seats. So you have like this kind of cloth vinyl material, whereas the front door panels gain a little bit of leather, and also integrated cup holder on this side. Now, looking over here, you do have a tri-zone climate control. So you have 2 up front and 1 out back. Up top, you have 3-stage heated and cooled seats, which you can adjust right there. Climate control functions and so on. And one other feature I'm going to show you guys is the voice command feature button. So if I hit this, 96.3 FM.
Got it.
As you can see right there, it actually put. Let's turn that down. There we go. All right, there we go. That's a little loud. But as you can see right there, the voice command feature actually works quite well, even from the back seats. Looking further down below, you have your seat controls for the passenger seat over here with integrated USB-C ports on both sides. A household outlet is further down below, and some more storage down here. Here's a quick look to the cockpit. But now let's hit the driver's seat, where all the action happens. So let's go. One thing I do also want to mention, this Titan charcoal exterior has like a green hue to it in the sun, as you guys can see that right there. Pretty interesting. Now, looking at your interior, this is a Nappa leather black interior. All your seat controls are straightforward over here. 8-way power adjustable for all 6 seats. Your power waterfall cushion, a recline relax function right here. Your power bottom, back support, your bolstering, and a 4-way lumbar support is right here. You have a manual tilt telescoping steering column. 2-person memory right here with your ergo motion massage driver's seat. Window and mirror controls, everything is pretty straightforward with that. Hood release, your electronic parking brake with your traction, tow mode, gas tank release, tailgate, and cluster illumination buttons. Now, stepping inside of the interior, such a nice place to be. You have a clear, crisp head-up display up top. My speed limit in the area, and all my driving information, radio, and media comes right here in my line of sight. A 3-spoke heated steering wheel with the 4 dots for the Hyundai logo in Morse code. Driver assist as well as your cluster control settings on my left-hand side, as well as my right-hand side displaying all of my media and multimedia functions right there. Paddles behind the wheel with your light, and the wiper controls right there. I will talk about the gear shifter in 1 second, but let's look a little bit more in depth at this 12.3-inch cluster. Now, when I activate the turn signals, it will pull up your blind spot camera mirror on both sides, which is pretty cool. And I can use the page button right here to cycle between all of various different modes and menus. So right now this is in a navigation view, driver assist view, and then I have my speedo. It'll show you your idle mode right there, whether you're using the battery or the engine to propel you forward. Power distribution for the all-wheel drive H-track, tire pressures, vehicle temperature for the engine, and some more MPG settings are right here. Now this screen over here is a 12.3-inch display. Now one thing I want to show you guys before I take you guys on a deep dive or a quick dive on the interior is the gear shifter situation. So you have your push button start right here. You basically toggle forward for drive and toggle all the way back for reverse. As you can see right there, when you put it in reverse, you have a 360 top-down view camera with all your various different angles, which you can't adjust for the rear, as well as the front up top. And you also have a full 3D view right here, doing a full 360-degree view around. You basically push for park right there. Now looking a little bit more at this main infotainment setup, you also have embedded navigation. So let's try a navigation test. Pretty quick to find a prompt with no problem at all. Going back to your main homepage right here. One thing I do want to mention is that you have a couple of shortcut buttons to really expedite going through the whole infotainment. Very easy to use and interactive, finding your various different stuff under the screen. Radio functions, you also have a trailer mode right there for your trailer drive mode. You can adjust all that stuff right there. A hybrid mode right there shows you whether you're using the battery, the electric motor, or the engine to propel you forward. Phone settings, you also have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Now what I want to do is try a quick audio test. Now this does have a 14-speaker Bose sound system. This replaces the Harman Kardon in the last generation or first generation Palisade. So I'm interested to see how it compares. Now when it comes to the audio, I think the 14-speaker Bose sound system has great bass and sound quality. I still feel like the Harman Kardon offered a little bit more bass, a little bit more mid-range and treble compared to this, but nevertheless, it's still a great system for the mainstream segment. Now going back to your main homepage right here, voice memos, some more seat settings are right over here under this menu for all your heated seats. All 6 individual seats are heated, and the first 2 rows are cooled under that menu right there. Some more setup functions right here for your vehicle settings. SmartSense driver assist technology can be configured and controlled under this menu right here with Highway Driver Assist 2. You also have your various different drive modes. So my drive mode is configurable. Basically, I have everything set is the powertrain in the smart adaptive mode, and the steering is just regular normal. Eco right there, you have a coasting feature, so you have normal, early, and late for that. I didn't really notice much of that, but I'll talk a little bit more in depth about that when we go for a driving impression video section. Dash camera integrated right here. It's literally so many features built into the screen. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Ergo motion massage seat, which is only for the driver. You can adjust the intensity, which I leave on strong, and then your session between 10, 15, and 20 minutes. Some more light settings right here. Now you do have a multicolor ambient lighting setup right there, which I can show you guys over here on the door panels. As you can see, it's on a purple. I can go to a red, blue, yellow, as well as a green. And better yet, if you want to pick a little bit more of a different color, more individual, you have 64 individual colors which you can select and configure under your custom color mode. Door settings are right there. Smart liftgate, height, so on. Digital key if you use your phone or device to basically lock and unlock the vehicle. Some more convenient settings right here for your service intervals, as well as your auto rear wiper and wireless phone charging pad. Couple more dash camera stuff right there, which is integrated under this menu. Let me see if I can demonstrate that for you guys real quick. As you can see right there, it actually picks up with the dash camera, which is pretty cool. You can go time-lapse mode and etc. Your weather, your various different apps are right here. Over-the-air updates, your owner's manual is also integrated inside of the screen. One thing I also want to mention under the setup menu is the fact that you have your user profiles, screen layout displays, and also one of my favorites is this buttons button right here, which is your preset favorite button on both the steering wheel as well as over here on the dashboard. I can literally configure that button to my liking right here under this menu, which is pretty cool. cluster and head-up display upgrade, so you can actually like change the themes and so on right here on my line of sight with the head-up display, as well as the cluster themes, and some more over-the-air updates and network settings. Now looking further down below, you have your auto hold function as well as your drive mode selector. So you have eco, sport, as well as a my drive mode, which is like configurable drive mode, and I can hit terrain and toggle between a snow, mud, and sand mode right here with this little toggle. You just toggle back and forth, which is pretty cool. Hill descent over here on this side with your parking sensors, activate, deactivate, and a quick shortcut button for the 360 camera right here. All the shortcut buttons, your volume and tune knob, hazards, and that preset favorite button I talked about. A dual zone climate control is up front with 3-stage heated and cooled seats, as well as a 2-stage heated steering wheel. You can also control the rear climate control right there with that button. Some more storage down below with a 12-volt charger. Now looking in the center console right here, you have a USB-C port for charging and connectivity to the infotainment, as well as 2 fast charging USB-C ports, and a button to activate and deactivate the UVC sanitizer compartment in the middle right here. So I can basically just put my device out the wireless phone charging pad in here, and boom, have it sanitized. You also have 2 cup holders, which are a pretty good size. Now looking up top, you have your garage door openers down below, and a couple of settings for the rear digital camera mirror, which you can use this button right here to change the various different settings and stuff. A quick shortcut button for your dash camera. All of your telematics, your blue link, and SOS buttons are up here with your light controls, as well as your panoramic sunroof controls for the rear section, as well as the front section right there. But now let's take the new Palisade Hybrid for a drive and check out the driving impressions. So let's get into that. Let's go. I'm super excited to be behind the wheel of the new Palisade Hybrid. So let's go. Very strong acceleration up to highway speeds. Now, speaking of visibility out the front, rear, and sides, I can see very good over the hood with this clear, crisp head-up display displaying my speed information, media, and other data right here in my line of sight, as well as these side view camera mirrors. You can also activate the turn signals, which really comes in clutch with these sideward camera mirrors on both sides. Also, rearward visibility is great too. I have a digital camera mirror right here if you do have cargo around the back. And you can also go back to a traditional view as well.
0.2 miles traffic light camera ahead.
Now speaking a little bit more about the exterior design of the new Palisade, it does remind me of the Toyota Century SUV a bit on the front end, more squared off, boxy, blocky design. And then around rear has like a Range Rover type-esque look on the back, where it kind of tapers or teardrops a bit on the rear. Pairing this with a 21-inch multi-spoke wheel, and honestly the vehicle has a lot of presence in person. Now it's actually funny because I saw this vehicle a week before I decided to do this review, and the biggest thing I noticed is like, man, this car had a lot of LEDs on the front. I was like, you know what, wait, that's the new Palisade. And here we are today with the new Palisade, right? Now the ride quality is very smooth. I have a front strut and a rear multi-link suspension out back, paired with this 21-inch wheel. If you do go for a smaller diameter wheel, the ride quality will improve even more. Now the main competitor to this vehicle is the Toyota Grand Highlander in this Hybrid Max powertrain, which itself makes 360 horsepower and gets about 29 mpg combined. Now comparing it to this Palisade right here, you have a 2.5 liter turbo inline 4-cylinder, which makes about 258 horsepower with a 72 horsepower electric motor and a 1.65 kilowatt hour battery. Makes about 329 horsepower and 339 pound-foot of torque. And you can really feel it in the mid-range. Now, a couple of things to talk about with the driving experience of the new Palisade. First off, the steering is very direct, very soft, not really like hefty, but I mean, this is a 3-row luxury vehicle at the end of the day, or near luxury. You'd also have a regen braking feature. So basically in the screen, I mentioned where you can change the regen functions between a late, early, or a normal. Right now I have the regen set into a normal feature. It only works when you're like hitting the brakes and decelerating, where it actually charges up the battery. But other than that, the regen really doesn't work. It's not really that effective like you'd find in a electric vehicle, for instance, where it really like fully regens. This is like half-baked a bit. Now just cruising around, Hyundai does describe this vehicle as the most Palisade ever, and it's funny because it honestly is. To me, to define a Palisade, I think more of a 3-row premium SUV, not really full luxury, but a little bit more than mainstream.
45 miles per hour speed limit.
See, look, the camera thing came up. But speaking a little bit more about that, this is the most Palisade thing ever, and by that means that this 3-row near luxury SUV packs in a lot of the feature comforts and technology from something like a Mercedes or BMW at a mainstream car price tag. I think that's the true definition of the Hyundai Palisade. Now, speaking of the amenities, specifically on the interior, you have seat adjustments for all 6 occupants. All seats are heated, as well as a heated steering wheel, and you also have ventilated seats for the first and second row. So everybody has adjustments and the heating function for wintertime. It's actually quite interesting too, even the third row seats, which for 5'6", I could probably sit back there for about 30 minutes to an hour max, but even back there in the third row, you have seat adjustments, which is pretty cool. Now, speaking a little bit more about the interior technology, you have this cluster right here in front of me. It's very minimalistic, like you don't have your map or navigation screen in the center, which I think will be a nice addition, but everything else works pretty straightforward with that. Over here, your touchscreen right here is pretty easy to use. You have a lot of shortcut buttons, and for most of the stuff that you need on a daily basis to interact with is pretty easy, and all your other additional stuff inside or behind the screen can be accessed through your various different menus and settings. And that blind spot camera mirror never gets old. Now, the seat comfort is great though, even for the driver. Right now I can activate my massage. This one has the Ergo Motion massage sheet only for the driver, and you have like a relax recline function for both the front seats as well as the second row seats. Look at that, I'm just whisking around getting a massage. This is sweet, honestly. And this digital camera mirror. Now, for the driving experience right now, I'm in this My Drive mode, which is the configurable drive mode I mentioned in my walk around. Basically, I have the drivetrain in the smart adaptive mode. So when I'm just chilling right now, it's in like an eco mode. And then when I give it gas and like floored, it switches over automatically into a sport mode. The transition is actually very smooth between the internal combustion engine and the electric motors. Also does have a tight turning radius for a vehicle that's 200 inches long. Quite impressive. Quick 0 to 60. Pretty good right there for a 0 to 60 test. You can really feel that torque feel though with the electric motors. You also have paddles behind the wheel to engage with the 6-speed automatic transmission. But yeah, she is just so smooth. I mean, just whisking around in utter comfort. I got my massage going. You can see the cool purple accent lighting that I have set on the door panels and the front dashboard section. It honestly turns smaller than the vehicle weight would suggest or the length. Now, speaking a little bit more about the technology baked into the screen, obviously this one does have a 14-speaker Bose sound system. The bass sound quality is okay. To me, I think it's more average. Now, to be honest, the Harman Kardon sound system in the last generation Palisade definitely did give me more like that studio type of feel. I feel like this is missing a little bit more of like that mid-range and bass to really give you the full experience. The only time I actually noticed it was when I cranked the radio or the dial all the way up to like 26 to get like the full volume. Right now it's in pure EV mode. You can see right there, the transition is actually very smooth. And then all your drive modes are like right here if you want to switch between your Eco, Sport. And you also have a couple of terrain modes right there. So I can adjust that between the snow, mud, and sand mode. But I'm just going to leave it in as My Drive mode for the majority of the review. I do like the little display where it shows you whether you're using the engine or the electric motors or the battery to propel you forward. It's pretty cool. You can obviously pull it up inside of the center screen, but I have my power distribution page right there so you guys can see if it's putting down the traction to all four wheels, or is this going into like front wheel drive mode to improve the fuel economy. So where Waldorf is crowded. Okay, pretty good turning radius. This Palisade, I believe, is like 39 feet, has a 39-foot turning radius. It's actually very impressive for a vehicle of this size. And of course, you have the Smart Park. This thing moves for a 3-row SUV like this. That torque field really puts in that work with the electric motors. Now this one does have a designated tow drive mode. This one is rated to tow 4,000 pounds in this application right here. It's pretty good. As you can see right here, going down this hill, that D-cell with the regen braking is really charging up that battery right now. Have about 2 bars left on that. The road's a little choppy back here. My camera just jumped around. Such a great day to do a POV drive. We got the sunset going on in the background, so you can really see like the accent lighting and all the cool stuff in here. Now I want to try another 0 to 60 test. Again, this one has 329 horsepower, 339 pound-foot of torque, and I'm honestly curious to see how it gets off the line. Again, I'm not doing no brake torquing or nothing like that. Just straight up flooring accelerator off the line, off the stab. All right, let's go. Pretty good acceleration right there. Now, one thing I want to mention too, when you do accelerate in this vehicle, I don't know if it's specifically on my tester right here or if this is for the Palisade hybrids in general, but there is a slight delay when you do let off the accelerator where it like keeps going for like, I would say 1 or 2 seconds, and then it'll like slow down and back off. That is one thing I do want to note with this vehicle right here. Now, when it comes to interior materials, everything is nice. This is a black Nappa leather interior. You can get a great interior option. Now, one thing I want to point out is the cost cutting in the second row seats on the door panels. Those have like a vinyl cloth material, whereas the front seats have like this leather design. I find that's a bit of cost cutting, especially at this price point right here. I would expect a little bit more. Pretty cool feature adopted from the Santa Fe, the UVC sanitizer compartment, which is right here in the center console. You can turn that on and off, put your device in there, and it'll sanitize. Pretty straightforward with that. Like I said, comparing this to the Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid, keep in mind the Grand Highlander has about 30 additional horsepower, but gets about 2 mpg worse than this vehicle right here. And I mean, the creature comforts that you get for the price tag though, this is basically luxury car packaging in a mainstream premium vehicle like this. So smooth. Whee! Now, I want to show you guys the SmartSense driver assist technology, so I can activate that right here on this side. I can change my following distances all the way out to 4 or all the way down to 1. I think level 2 is the perfect balance for everyday driving, especially with the distance. If you're going a more long extended drive, I think level 3, level 4 works out a lot better. You can also go down to level 1. It is pretty safe as far as the following distance goes. You also have your lane keeping assist with steer assist. So if I do veer over, it will pull me back over into my lane. As you can see right there, it will pull you back over, which is pretty cool, and give you a chime. Now this is part of the Highway Driver Assist 2 technology, so you have the LiDAR sensor looking at my eyes to make sure that I'm focusing on the road and looking straight forward. But yeah, very smooth.
0.3 miles, traffic light camera ahead.
This darn car has been interrupting me the whole review. But you know what? I'm glad to have that feature where it lets me know where a traffic camera is. That's pretty cool. And obviously all this information is relayed also into the head-up display. Now, getting a little bit closer to the dealership, what is my overall consensus, overall opinion on the new Palisade Hybrid? How does it compare against the Toyota Grand Highlander? Well, I'm glad you asked. First things first, when it comes to practicality, getting more cargo into your vehicle, I think this is where the Grand Highlander really shines. Obviously, you have the Toyota reliability behind that. But with the Palisade, you're getting basically luxury car features at a mainstream vehicle price tag. Granted, $60,000 is still a lot of money, but the amount of tech that you get for this vehicle for this price tag is impressive. This dual digital display setup, the massage seat, which I do love so much, all the power seat adjustments for all 3 rows, the cool accent lighting, the Smart Park feature, which I didn't mention, but I will overlay a clip of the Smart Park feature at work, which is pretty cool. And you just have all the latest and greatest technology baked into this premium mainstream-esque SUV like this. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Only 2 things I don't like with this vehicle is the sound system can be a little bit better in terms of the bass and sound quality, and also too the cost cutting in the second row seats is definitely noticeable.
In a quarter-mile, traffic light camera ahead.
Good passing power. It defies logic for a vehicle of this size and heft. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the new Palisade. Very impressive.